Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the National League South Roundup and the final one of the regular season. So everything was decided yesterday, the final relegation spot, the final few playoff spots. There were emphatic victories and drama in lots of games, so without further ado, let's get straight into the matches. And the first game we have is Billericay Town, who went up against Bath City, and the host playoff chances were extinguished at the hand of Bath. So Bath ran out comfortable 2-1 winners in the end after a fairly drab first half where nothing much happened. Both teams were going at it, as you expect, because Billericay would have needed the point to get in the playoffs. Bath were secure in the playoffs, but they were just playing to finish as high as they could. It was Rob Cundy that gave Bath the lead in the 57th minute, and just 4 minutes after that, Bath were in full move and found their swing, getting to swing of things, as Tom Smith, 61st minute, doubled Bath's lead, and they said that way they found on for a comfortable victory. So that's given Billericay, and it's ending up with Billericay missing out on the playoffs. It means they've dropped to 8th, and they've actually missed out to Wealdstone, which I'll get to on my coming up in the next game. We'll get to that in a bit. So Billericay finished the season in 8th place on 65 points from 42 games, a point behind the last playoff place of Wealdstone. So it's gutting for Billericay to miss out, but also funny at the same time because the show's money can't buy you everything. So they have missed out. Bath have finished 5th, so we'll play Wealdstone in the playoff qualifier thing. So we'll play Wealdstone in the qualifier for a chance to take on Woking, I believe it is. Yes, it will be Woking. So yeah, that'll be on Wednesday, I believe that is. And I will be doing a special video dedicated just to that game. I'll probably film that Monday or Tuesday, and I'll get that up for you the following day from whenever I film it. So stay tuned for that. So yeah, Billericay will be disappointed with how they've ended the season. It's just because they did have a dodgy run to the end, so they'll be disappointed they couldn't finish off and get into the playoffs. But Bath will be happy with the victory, giving them confidence going into the playoff match. The next game to take place between Chippenham Town and Chelmsford City, and the away team confirmed themselves automatic place to the semi-finals due to the fact Concord have missed out on the playoffs. So it was a fairly even game. Chelmsford got the only goal of the game in the 16th minute, and it was all they needed, so they just sat back and invited pressure on from Chippenham, but there was no Chippenham didn't create much out of it. Chelmsford managed to hold on with a good defensive performance after going 1 up, got the goal they needed, and they have finished 4th on 72 points, a point ahead of Bath, so they have gone through to the semi-final automatically of the playoffs now due to Concord's misfortune of missing out, and they will take on Welling in the semi-final. So both teams know who they've got to face, so they've got a nice break now until the semi-final, so I believe that's a week after next. I will be doing a dedicated video to all the playoff predictions as well, so stay tuned for that too, but because Bath Wealdstone is on its own this week, I'll just do a dedicated video especially for that. So yeah, stay tuned for those videos coming up, and we'll also be doing a lot of other videos during the close season, so stay tuned for them too. Let me know what you want to do. Let me know what you think I should do in the comments below too. So yeah, back to the game. Chelmsford managed to hold on. Great win for them. They're guaranteed the semi-final place now, so that's going to give them confidence that they can get promoted and hopefully not bottle it for them for their cases. This time, hopefully they don't bottle it. They hope they will get promoted to the National League finally this time through the playoffs. A game which had not other team having playing for anything was between Eastbourne Borough and Concord Rangers, and the away side did manage to run out 2-1 winners eventually. It was played in part thanks to 2 quick-fire goals in the first half from Conor Essam in the 36th minute and John Luque in the 37th minute, putting Concord in a comfortable position going into half-time. And it stayed that way for a little part of the second half until Bingham respawned in the 53rd minute, reduced the deficit, putting some pressure on Concord, but it was to no avail. Concord managed to hold on for a good 3 points, and they have finished 7th. They have finished 6th, but they will be taken as a 7th place team, obviously, as they can't take part in the playoffs. They finished on 70 points, and Eastbourne have finished in 8th on 42 points, so eventually avoiding the drop zone by 4 points in the end. So they'll be happy with how it's gone, but it's still not encouraging, if it has to be said, because they've only won once since January, which it's not exactly massive. It's not exactly setting the world alight, is it? It's just they just had the fortune that their teams that are crap below them. They got that crucial 6-0 win over Dartford, which has proved massive now. But yeah, Concord will be disappointing with obviously the playoff situation. I haven't really talked about this much, but I'm on my thoughts on it. But I'll just briefly go over it now. But it's a tricky one, but because obviously they didn't know the rules. The rules are rules. They've been in place for a long time now. Obviously, Paul and Hungerford had it a few seasons ago where Hampton got into the playoffs because of the misfortune of their ground not being up to standard. And yeah, I did sympathise with them at first because I would have liked to see them go up because it's brilliant what they overachieved massively. They're a small club in a great position and they've done brilliantly well. But again, the rules are rules, and they were told. It's just I think the league have timed it pretty poorly as well. Just bringing out the news a day before the last game of the season. It did mess up a few of the teams in the playoffs as well, not knowing what they had to do, like Albans and Dartford and Slough. So, yeah, it's a tricky one, but that's my thoughts on it. Back to that, going to the game, they'll be happy with the way they ended the season, despite the fact they can't by taking the playoffs. Hungerford Town confirmed their safety in the National League South for another season with a point against Eastbourne United. However, things didn't start well for Hungerford, as Sean Batt, the veteran striker, formerly of Leyton Orient, scored in the 23rd minute to give Eastbourne a lead and giving Truro a big hand in their fight to stay up, as they were leading at home to Slough at this point too. And it stayed that way for the majority of the game. Nothing much really happened until in the 72nd minute, a Joe Nzengo red card gave Hungerford the chance that they could get back into the game and made things very nervy for Truro, who at this point were level, so they needed to get a goal as well. However, 93rd minute came and Chippenham for Hungerford equalised, sending them into ruptures, confirming that they had stayed up, as Truro had also drawn, meaning Hungerford had stayed up by the skin of their teeth, by 3 points in the end. It was fairly comfortable, but nothing could be done. Hungerford had finished in 19th on 42 points and Thurrock on 37, so I did predict that Eastbourne could finish bottom in the end, but didn't actually happen. Weston did actually finish 2 points behind them. Yeah, but Hungerford will be delighted that they've stayed up. It's the second season in a row, I believe, they've survived in the last day of the season, so they hope they can push on next season, hope they can finish comfortably mid-table and avoid the relegation battle, obviously, but even though they've done massively, because this is where they expect to be, because they're a small club, they've got a really small budget, the ground's not the best, one of the worst, as we said, in the league, but they've done brilliantly this season to stay up again. What's where they expect to be as well in the relegation battle. They'll be delighted that they've stayed up and they'll be happy with the point that they needed, and Eastbourne hope they can go again next season in the Boston League and hopefully get promotion. Dartford's playoff hopes were extinguished at Oxford City as they went down 2-1. Ronnie Vint gave Dartford a dream lead on the 33rd minute, putting them in a good position, and it wasn't enough to lift them into the playoffs as things stood. However, they were comfortable, but then Oxford really turned it on in the second half. Goals from Zach McEachran and Kabungo Tishamanga, the top scorer, a lethal player in the 51st and 59th minute respectively, turned the game around for Oxford. Heartbreak for Dartford, meaning they missed out on the playoffs and meant that Wealdstone were lifted into the playoffs. Dartford will be absolutely gutted with how they finished, but I've got to be said it's deserved. Even if they lost 6-0 to Eastbourne, I don't think they deserve to get in the playoffs, if I'm honest. And then from that, there has been a pretty toxic atmosphere around the club, of the management team, a few of the fans calling for the manager's head. As I said, they finished 10th on 64 points. Oxford finished 12th on 56 points, so Oxford will be fairly. There's a possibility Oxford could be switched to the National North next season because of all 4 teams coming down from the National League. Obviously, it's Aldershot, Braintree, Maidstone, and Havant. Obviously, all 4 coming down. They're all Southern teams, so there's an unequal balance. So some teams will have to be switched over. It looks like it could be Oxford, Gloucester, and Braintree that go over. And if one more has to be removed, it would probably be one of St Albans, Hemel, or Chippenham, or Chelmsford. Sorry, not Chippenham. So yeah, it's a really controversial thing to go around. But yeah, Dartford will be disappointed with the way they finished the season, because they've had an atrocious run of form. They didn't barely pick up a point. If I just look at their form recently, they've lost to Dartford, lost 6-0 to Eastbourne, lost to Chippenham, lost to Weston, drew with Hampton and Truro. This is what's let them down, and it's got to be said that they don't deserve to be. If that's what their form's like, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. But that's not to be. They would hope they can go. Next season will be the one for them. They kick on next season, hopefully get in the playoffs then. St Albans' playoff hopes were also extinguished at the hand of the champions Torquay United. In front of a packed crowd at Clarence Park, St Albans I did have a few injury concerns as well. Listening to Ian Allison's interview, which I can't enjoy actually. Listening to his interview, they said they did have some injury problems, so they did struggle to put their full strength team out. And the fact with Concord, the situation didn't help them either. And listening to him, it could have been about 5 inside the opening 10 minutes, and they were pretty poor. Torquay were just a class above them. And it was Kalala that gave Torquay the lead just 10 seconds into the game. In the first minute, he finished well to give Torquay the lead. It was then Jamie Reid, top scorer and a lethal talisman, who doubled it for Torquay in the 9th minute, giving them a really comfortable advantage, leaving St Albans with a mountain to climb. However, St Albans did have a few chances after the second goal went in, but it wasn't really test McDonald in the Torquay net much. Not as much as he wanted to. The few shots that went wide and over the top. But in the third goal came into the 65th minute from Opie Edwards, as he finished off after the cross was pushed in. He finished off brilliantly to make it 3-0, effectively putting the contest about and ending St Albans' playoff chances. And in the last minute of the game, Kalala got his second, the Bristol City loanee, as he finished brilliantly in the 92nd minute to cap off a brilliant end to the season for the champions, and thoroughly deserved champions as well, has to be said. So hats off to them, well done to them full credit to them, they deserved it, they smashed it. Gary Johnson's done brilliantly since he come in, so they are finished top on 88 points, 10 clear of Woking in the end. St Albans have finished 9th on 64 points, so yeah, St Albans will be really disappointed with the way end, but they can't be too disappointed with the season because they've had a brilliant season. They finished games off brilliantly this season. They would have liked to have gone one step further than previous season and hopefully just keeping to the playoff, but it wasn't to be for them. They'll be disappointed, but they hope they can go again next season because they've got a decent squad there, but they'll just be disappointed with the way they finished the season nonetheless. And Torquay will be delighted with the way they finish, however. I really think they could do bits in the National League next season, hopefully finish a good strong position, solid mid-table, possibly even challenge to the playoffs, who knows. So yeah, they'll be delighted with the way they finished and they can look forward to their local derby with Yeovil next season too. Truro City were relegated from the National League South as they can only manage a draw 3-3 at home to Slough, and it's a gutting way to see it end for Truro because they've had a terrible season in terms of the ground arrangement with Torquay and their chairman screwing them over a lot, and it's all ended in a real sad way for them. But then they only managed a 3-3 draw with Slough. If they won, they would have been staying up, but it wasn't to be. But they did get off to a brilliant start through Niall Thompson in the 17th minute, who gave them the lead and put them within the cusp of safety. So they weren't staying up as things stood at that point. However, Matt Lynch equalised on the stroke of half time for Slough, meaning that's Truro needed to score again. However, it all went wrong for them in a space of 2 second-half minutes, as in the 74th and 75th minute. Will Harris and Amati put Slough 3-1 up and eventually ending Truro's chances here, and meaning they had a mountain to climb. They needed a miracle if they were to stay up at this point. However, in the 92nd minute, Tyler Harvey scored from the spot what looked to be a consolation goal for them. However, things ended on a positive note for them, as Zibov did get a 3-3 draw for them, as he managed to equalise in the 94th minute, getting a late point for them, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't much cheer around because they did obviously need a win, and it wasn't enough, and they have been relegated back to the Southern League South, where they'll join Weston-super-Mare. So they're finished on 39 points in 20th place, 4 clear of safety in the end. Very disappointing for them. Slough, in contrast, who had brief playoff chances, which were extinguished because of the news and Concord, which meant they couldn't make it anymore. They finished on 63 points in 11th place, which is a magnificent season for them back in National South. I've said it loads of times, Baker and Underwood have done a brilliant job there. Full credit has to go off to them. They've done a brilliant season. They'll be happy with that, even if they haven't made the playoffs. They hope they can kick on next season and get in the playoffs. For Truro, however, it depends. No one knows where they're going to be playing, and the future's up in arms. They're talking of going to the Menai Field in Penzance for them next season, but no one knows where they could be next season, so who knows what might happen for them next season. Hard to tell, but yeah, it's a sad end for Truro, the way they've been relegated. Wealdstone confirmed their places in the playoffs, taking the last place as they beat Hemel Hempstead down 2-1. And other results went in their favour, obviously with Billericay and Dartford losing 2, which meant they stuck into the playoffs, confirming the final spot. It did start disastrously for Wealdstone, though, as in the 36th minute, it was Williams that gave Hemel the lead, putting them in a comfortable position, looking to get them 1 over on Wealdstone, who no one really likes, unsurprisingly. It was Williams nonetheless that gave Hemel the lead, looking to end what has been a difficult season for Hemel, really inconsistent. They've not done amazingly well compared to last season when they got in the playoffs. However, Freddie Grant, the former Oxford City man, equalised for Wealdstone in the 50th minute, meaning one goal because the other results go in their favour, will lift Wealdstone into the playoffs. And 7 minutes later, that goal came. The right back Jake Shepherd brilliantly finished, put Wealdstone 2-1 up and give them the lead, meaning they were going into the playoffs. And they held on, and results went their way, meaning that Wealdstone did grab that last playoff spot in 7th place with 66 points, finishing on 66 points in 7th. A point ahead of Billericay in 8th. Brilliant finish from Wealdstone, getting the playoffs. Gutting for the other teams around them, though. I can't see them going up, if I'm honest. My money's on Welling or Bath, which I'll get to in the later video, obviously. So Wealdstone will face Bath on Wednesday night. Hemel finished 16th on 48 points. They actually only finished a point ahead of Gloucester in the end, so they've had a real bad end of the season. A bad season overall, it has to be said, after the good start of the season they had, but Dean Brennan leaving didn't really help matters. They've had, I believe, 3 managers this season. I'm not sure about that, but 3 managers, I believe, had this season, which disappointing for them. But they've been really disappointed this season because they've been really inconsistent. Fans are calling for Joe Deeney to go if they want to be moving on next season and pushing for playoffs. But Wealdstone will be delighted they're in the playoffs, and I hope they can get promoted. Hemel, in contrast, I hope they can go again next season and hope for a more positive season. Now we move on to my team, Hampton, Richmond, Borough, who were comfortably dispatched 4-0 at Welling United, and they didn't go, but just from what I hear, it did sound fairly not undeserved, but it did flatter Welling a bit, the 4-0 victory, because even though we didn't really test them much, even though we didn't really create much. Not Ash in the net, because it was Lovelock in the net. He only had to pick the ball up 4 times, and that was all he had to do really. But McCallum did give well in the lead in the 3rd minute after a deflected shot, which beat Lovelock in the net. And then the former Hampton man, Brendan Kiernan, of course he was going to score, made it 2-0 in the 35th minute. Going to half time, not in a great position here, but you never know what could happen in the second half and come up fighting and get 1 goal. However, it wasn't to be another former Hampton man, Mo Betterman made it 3. And then in the 78th minute, an own goal from Ryan Bray, capped off a pretty uninspiring performance, which is pretty disappointing to end the season on. We would have liked to end it on a positive note, especially with our form being as well as it is away from home, but wasn't to be. And yeah, so Wellingham finished on 76 points on 42. They all played Chelmsford in the playoffs, and Hampton have finished 15th on 49 points, level with Dulwich. Would have been nice to get up to 14th, but wasn't to be. But so I'll just quickly summarise this season. I might go into this in a different video, but I'll just quickly go into it now. Yeah, obviously a lot of us, it's always going to be a difficult season. This one with Douse taking half a squad, completely brand new squad Gary had, and it was fair play to him. He's done brilliantly keeping us up. A lot of our fans would have just expected safety at the start of the season if you asked us. And we've done that. We finished 15th, and to be fair, you can't knock the job he's done. He's done brilliantly as well, especially with what he had. Brand new squad. Not very much to work with, but fair play, we've survived, and hopefully we can kick on next season and push for a better finish. But we're going to need to get new signings in. I'm not sure how many of this squad will still be here next season, but hopefully we can push on next season. And good luck to Wellingham in the playoffs too, because they're in a really good position. I think they could have a chance of going up, either them or Bath. So good luck to them in the playoffs, because if they do go up, I think you will deserve it. Already relegated, Weston-super-Mare ended their time in the National League South with a 1-1 draw against Dulwich Hamlet. So Weston would have hoped to finish as high as possible, and with a win they could have done so, but it wasn't to be. They played out 1-1 draw. However, Jacob Welch did give Weston the lead in the stroke of half time, looking like they could finish a poor season on a positive note. However, in the 78th minute, Taj Prakash equalised with Dulwich, meaning that Weston would have needed to win if they wanted to finish any higher. And to end the season, things, Anthony Cook was sent off for a straight red for a poor challenge in the 93rd minute. I mean, Dulwich ended with 10, the game ended 1-1, and it's a weird season for Dulwich, because the away form was pretty poor. It's what cost them any chances of getting higher, but despite that, they've got to be happy with where they finished in their first season in the National South. 14th place is solid. Gavin Rose is an underrated manager, I have to say. He's done a really good job there. So yeah, they finished on 49 and 42, just on goal difference above Hampton. Weston obviously finished rock bottom on 35, 2 clear of Thurrock in the end. So yeah, it is disappointing for Weston that they managed to they've gone down eventually, because obviously they actually have gone down 3 times before in National South level, but were reprieved. So it's the first official relegation in their history, so they will drop to the Southern South. But as I said, they've shown an amazing fight these last games. You can't knock them, and if they continue to show that and keep some of their players around and bring in a few new players, it could have a great chance of coming straight back up again. I've said it, and I think I will. I'm really surprised that they are challenging around that top end of the table or going for the playoffs. But Dulwich, as I said, they've got to be happy with their first season back. Gavin Rose done a great job, and they've got them to a solid finish. And the final game from the weekend saw Woking, who lost 2-1 at home to Gloucester City. Woking's form has gone, as I said, it looked like it was improving with their victory last time out at Dulwich, but they've just got a loss at home to Gloucester, which is just shocking, really. It's no other word for it. It's just abysmal. And Gloucester, who are fighting relegation, who are given they are good away from home, they are better away from home than they are at home, but they don't score any. But they've stunned Woking and really upset them. And I can't see Woking going up, if I'm honest now, with the form they're in. However, it was Armani Little that gave Woking the lead. I believe he was on loan from Oxford on the stroke of half time, putting them in a good position. You would have thought, giving some fans some positivity that they could get something out of the playoffs, hopefully get promoted, giving them some improving their form. However, in the last 10 minutes is where it all collapsed for Woking. Jamie Jackson equalised for Gloucester in the 81st minute, sending their away fans into a positive mood. However, Fabian Robert, who's a really underrated player, I've got to say, he's done a brilliant, scored a lot of goals for Gloucester. He's a talisman, he's scored a lot of goals, a lot of screamers as well. Scored 5 minutes in time to give Gloucester the lead, smash and grab, stealing all points from Woking, meaning Woking going to the playoffs in really questionable form. They've actually only finished 2 points above Welling in the end, in second place on 78. Welling obviously are third on 76. Gloucester in the end have finished 17th on 47. Comfortable in the end, finishing outside 8 points outside the drop zone. So whilst it was looking iffy, they could be dropping down, they are finished in a comfortable position in the end, but it does look like They will be shifted over to the National North next season, but it also looks like they could be moving back to Gloucester, which is great to hear for them. So they'll be happy with where they finish in the end. Woking's form, however, it's not looking good, is it? I can't see them getting promoted, if I'm honest, with the form they're in, especially with the fact even though they've got to play Dartford or Wealdstone, they will fancy the chances against one of them, but it's only one game, you never know what could happen. They could easily get turned over, and I think they will. So Woking will be really disappointed with the form they're going into the playoffs, because they've not done well going into the playoffs. Their form is a real concern for them. And that's about it for the final National League South roundup of the regular season. I hope you've enjoyed my roundup this season, but obviously there will be more. I'll be doing roundup of the playoffs and the playoff finals as well, so stay tuned for them. A lot of videos coming during the close season as well, so anything in particular you want to see, let me know down below, and I'll be sure to take it, write it down. I'll be sure to have an idea, I'll be sure to do it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Drop it a thumbs up if you did. Don't forget to share, turn notifications on and like the video if you did, and I will see you all for my next video very, very soon.